Welcome back, folks. It is here, the Soul Sessions. Well, personally, the greatest wrestling interview show here on Wrestling Republic. But with me today, the Kick Demon, Janai Kai. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
My absolute pleasure. So, Janai, what I like to do with every guest, I always like to know the beginning. How did you fall in love with professional wrestling?
Oh man, so it goes back when I was a kid, of course, when I was watching wrestling with my dad. I guess it was like around when I was 6 years old, and he started taking me to the live events. I fell in love with what I just saw, how I felt like watching the wrestlers come out and everything. And since then, I've just been hooked.
That's a hell of a start, as always. It's always go back to childhood. As a kid, was there a a personal wrestler that really resonated with you? Like, wow, I want to be like them.
Yeah, there's a few, and I always name these three. It's Rob Van Dam, to Jerry, and Victoria.
Oh, wow, that's a hell of a mix. What is it about those individuals? Is it their style, their characters, or what was it that resonated with you?
It's okay, so for Rob Van Dam, to Jerry was definitely the styles,
Hmm.
and then Victoria, it was the way that she presented herself, like her
Wow,
attitude and everything that really captivated my attention. And so with Victoria too, I mean, she was a hell of a wrestler, and the intensity in the ring, like I was like, yes, this is exactly what I love watching.
yeah, it's a hell of a mixture. And now I want to talk about how I actually first found yourself and your wrestling was on AEW Rampage, where you have your match against
Ah,
Jade Cargill. And obviously,
yeah.
Thunder Rosa as that commentary, and you're one of her pupils. What did that whole moment mean for you?
Oh man, first of all, it was a very random moment for me because I didn't know I was going to be on Rampage until the day before.
Oh,
So, yeah, I this was in Atlanta, and I'm in DC, so like of course like I'm not going to be going there as an extra or anything. But I did get a last minute phone call because they were looking for somebody to go against Jade who hasn't before.
mhm.
And I haven't been on AEW yet or anything either. So thankfully, I mean, I had that opportunity. So yeah, that's how it just came about. But it means a lot that they would even think about me, So yeah, I was very thankful for that opportunity.
Yeah, it was a hell of a moment as well. And obviously, being linked to Thunder Rosa as well. What did it mean to have her on commentary? Commentating your match.
Yeah, so Thunder Rosa was part of the whole reason why I was even on. So I have to thank her for sure for, also, putting my name out there.
Mm.
But I love Thunder. I mean, she is so fun to be around. I love her attitude, her vibe, and I love, working for Mission Pro because she just really creates a good vibe in the locker room for women's wrestling.
That's great to hear. It's always great to see women's wrestling thriving in every aspect of the world. Whether in the Japan, America, even here in the UK. It's just great to see. And I know you would actually come back to AEW for more matches, Layla Gray and Athena as well. What was it like having those matches as well?
So it was okay. So for Athena, we have wrestled before for Warrior Wrestling, so it was cool to have like a little rematch on AEW. So she's so great to wrestle because I learn a lot from her as well at the same time. And then it was like Layla Hirsch, and it was Red Velvet that I also
Mm.
faced, and I really enjoyed those two. This was in my home, DC. It was good vibes, and I'm very happy with the way I presented myself and what I showcased.
It's great to see. You mentioned Warrior Wrestling, and we had Steve Tortello, the owner of Warrior Wrestling, on the show back last year. Steve's talked about how much he has so much pride in Warrior Wrestling. From your experience with Warrior tonight, what was it like wrestling for them?
I actually love it there. It's a different crowd too, but I, it felt good to be there and to be surrounded by other people who are so talented. Like that locker room, every card that comes out, like you can see, like, yeah, this is a big deal. Like these people are it. Like this is a good promotion to keep your eyes on.
Mm-hmm. And of course, you would face Athena, as you said, at Warrior Wrestling 22. And Athena is the current, Warrior Wrestling Women's Champion, but also for Ring of Honor as well. And I know you've had Ring of Honor experience in the past before the shutdown and when they were reacquired by Tony Khan. and you make a lovely Instagram post just saying how much you were thankful to Ring of Honor. When the initial news for Ring of Honor shutting down, was it kind of a really hard thing to grasp?
Yeah, because when I went in and I did the tapings for Ring of Honor, this was literally the week after they announced that they were just shutting everything down. So, of course, they were going to finish out the tapings and I was part of it, but I was also like, dang, like I came in at a weird time. I'm like, all right, like I always wanted to be part of Ring of Honor. I did a little bit of extra work beforehand, but it was so small. But like to actually wrestle, it really meant a lot. I was so nervous because like Ring of Honor was one of the shows that I really studied. Like I did my tape study on. So, but to see them back and kind of recreating things and still kind of still have that vibe to it that I always had is great to see.
That's good. And you mentioned there's such a love for Ring of Honor. As a fan and as a wrestler, is there a particular storyline in Ring of Honor's history you always look back and think, oh, that is Ring of Honor?
Well, I always watch like the early 2000s Ring of Honor,
Mm.
just because there that era was just so like intense, hard hitting. Like, not to say that the other parts were like other years weren't, but like there's something like so special about like the early 2000 years with like Daniel Bryan when
Mm-hmm.
or Bryan Danielson when he was there, or like Samoa Joe was on there. Like I loved watching like their matches. It wasn't that I was trying to even like take any of the moves or anything from that era, but I like watching wrestling that gives off this vibe that is just so like badass because then it will rub off on me and then
Mm-hmm.
it will make me want to become like that type of energy. So that's what I like about watching it. And it looks so underground, it looks so rugged too when you watch it.
Has a pure grit style to it as well. And
Yeah.
we would actually have former Ring of Honor wrestler Bobby Fish on, and Bobby talked about how influential Ring of Honor was to wrestling as a whole. What aspects do you feel, Janai, that Ring of Honor influenced modern day wrestling?
So it definitely, I think I hear a lot of people talk about how it's just Ring of Honor alone has influenced so many wrestlers going today. And it really influenced just indie wrestling as a
Mm-hmm.
whole. With that style that I just was talking about, with like kind of like rugged underground like type of vibe. Um, I think like definitely a lot of wrestlers still to this day tape study it as well, like I do, and you know I always think about this too when you're an indie wrestler and maybe these guys back then were not even thinking that, but they're thinking about it today. But like they're like they are creating history.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like us indie wrestlers today, we're creating history. Like 10, 15, 20 years from now, there's gonna be younger kids like studying us.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they are just so influential in that stance, like where they really had their own type of vibe, their own type of style. They really created something. They really made some sort of history at the end of the day. And we're studying that and we're appreciating that. And yeah, I think it's just so cool to think about it that way.
In a very influential place for all of wrestling, and now Ring of Honor is back. It was required by
Yeah.
Tony Khan earlier last year, and I just want to know what's your thoughts on the how Ring of Honor came back. You feel like, oh wow, I can't. I mean, Tony bought it. This is a hell of a get.
Yeah, so what I like what Tony's doing is again like keeping that vibe, like still keeping the style that Ring of Honor has always been. It's not like a complete change. Like
Mm,
even the logo still looks similar. Like you can still tell that it's still Ring of Honor. It's not a completely different thing, you know? And
mm,
then they're bringing back some of the Ring of Honor talent that were on beforehand. So I love seeing that too. And I would like to be back on for sure. That would be cool. Just to see like what's kind of new in a sense.
mm.
And I think it's for people that haven't watched Ring of Honor, it's going to introduce still that type of style to them, like the pure style and everything, to those people that are not aware of it.
Yeah, the pure style's a hell of a thing. I mean, I was there for seeing Will Uter versus Shibata. Oh, that
Yeah.
was a hell of a match. But I mean, the pure title itself, I mean, would you ever love to face Shibata? Maybe take it for the inside?
Yo, I don't I mean, if that match was to happen, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people can picture what would be going down. A lot of kicking for sure. But to even work with Shibata would be great.
The ultimate kick fest, as they say. You never know what
Yeah.
you get. But I mean, Athena, someone you've had multiple interactions with in the past, is the ROH Women's Champion. Would you like to face her again at either a Ring of Honor taping or even a Ring of Honor pay-per-view in the future?
Yeah, definitely. I love wrestling Athena, and to be in a Ring of Honor setting too, I think will be amazing. Um, and I haven't even been close to going for the Ring of Honor Women's Championship. Um, like the tapings I did with Ring of Honor before were just part of like the Women's Wrestling Wednesday type
Mm.
thing. But I feel like if Ring of Honor would stay longer, they probably would have put me on as part of the roster, and I would have had the chance to go for the title. So I think it's like kind of like continuing on from the last time for me, and I would love the opportunity.
An untold story, yet with its end. You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Now, I must ask, because every time I see you on your Instagram, you're always somewhere new. You're like traveling all over the place, and I need to know, like, that travel schedule. It's got to be a hell of a schedule.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Sometimes like when people ask me like, "Hey, how was your weekend?" I have to think about where where exactly I was at before I start talking about it, because usually I'm like, "It was great. Wait, where was I at? Oh, I was here. Yeah, and then I went here and then here." But it's crazy, man. Like every day I'm looking at my calendar just to figure out what's going on, how I'm gonna fit everything. I recently left my part-time like shoot job because now I'm gonna be wrestling full time again. But like even having that part-time job, it was kind of hectic, and I tried fitting in. I'm sure like you remember like the communication with us, we were trying to figure out days and all of that. Like I had so many of emails like that with other podcasts where it was like, wait, not this day's better, not this day, whatever. But like now it's good. I feel good, but now I can fully focus on wrestling. Um, now that I'm gone from that shoot job, but it feels good. I love traveling too. I love seeing new spots. Having that adventure. I'm very thankful for the fact that I can even do that, because a lot of people tell me like, "Oh, I wish I can just travel or whatever and do what I love." I'm like, dude, just do it. You know, I'm doing what I love and traveling. I'm just literally having an adventure by myself. It's fun.
The Janai Kai sightseeing tour coming in 2023. I know we're
Yeah.
going to end up. But, people travel all the time. I mean, I traveled over to LA for WrestleMania, which is an 11.5 hour flight. God, I'll never do that again.
Oh
But,
my God.
what kind of advice would you give to even wrestlers or travelers, that you've picked up along the way?
Um, I mean, I'm still learning myself every time I go somewhere. I'm learning some sort of lesson when it comes to what I have to pack or just anything. But like just really like enjoy the
Mm,
moment, because when we're traveling, we're focusing so much on like, oh, I have this match. Like
yeah.
that's just it. Like that's all they're like thinking about. But just enjoy the moment. Look around. Like even if you're at the airport, or maybe you're like you have like a delay or something, you can just sit there and just enjoy the moment. And be like, you know what? I'm thankful I'm here. I'm just gonna relax. Whatever happens, happens. Um, I'm traveling to a show, to a promotion where they trust me, where they believe in me, where I can showcase my style, really showcase who I am to like new faces. And so I kind of like sit and just really think about that. And so that's what
Mhm.
I recommend people to really do if they're like traveling around like that.
No, it's great to hear. I mean, some places you travel, you've always traveled to Japan as well. What was
Yeah.
it like wrestling in Japan for the first time?
Oh my gosh. I really couldn't believe it. Because it was just I that's like my number one goal is to wrestle in Japan and continue to wrestle there and really make a name there. So like the first time going there, I try to do that thing where like I'm taking in the moment, looking around and appreciating it. It's just so surreal. And then being like at Korakuen Hall, um, that was like another thing. Like the vibe was so different, but it felt so fitting. And I love just working with TJPW. They really took care of me and that the girls did, and just everybody around really appreciated that you were even there.
Mhm.
So I love it there. I do, and I hope a lot of other wrestlers have the opportunity to go over there and experience that.
Would you say wrestling in Japan is like an essential skill set for some wrestlers that they should always try to get?
I mean, yeah, like if when it comes to wrestling internationally, I think that should be part of their goals, like, because it's different and they should always like, be open to that rather than just staying maybe in your own state,
Mhm.
like really venture and get out there. Um, but yeah, if you ever see an opportunity or an opportunity comes across where someone reaches out to you, definitely take it because you will not regret it. It is going to uplift your career in so many ways. It's going to uplift just you personally.
Mhm.
You are going to feel a whole other level when you come back to wherever you live. Be, like it's going to show in the ring for sure. Like you're going to learn so much that you probably don't even think you are. And then when you come back, you're gonna be like a kind of feel like a totally different person in a sense. That you'll feel
Mhm.
good and you'll feel more motivated.
No, definitely, definitely. Japan's such a lovely country in itself as well. Is there other aspects of Japan that you quite admire? Is it culture, media, television, or history? What kind of other aspects of Japan really resonate with you?
So I always been into, Japanese culture since I was little as well. And, I was really into the music. I was really into the fashion because I was also a fashion student. So I always wanted to go over there. um, And then, yeah, when I went over there, the culture and everything, like everything was exactly what I kind of pictured, but maybe like a little bit better. Um, and yeah, like, yeah, the culture was like, it was definitely, again, like I felt appreciative being
Mhm.
there and people understood like that I'm a foreigner. I was by myself. There was no other foreigners like at TJPW. Like I was the only one at the time. And so I kind of had to venture out by myself, but I felt comfortable still. I didn't feel too lost or overwhelmed or anything. Like I even went through the subway, trains, and everything by myself.
Wow.
Um, yeah, I really did my homework on what I had to do before going over there too. So that's another thing too. Like, but I also recommend like if you are traveling to another country, do your homework on what you should bring, like what apps maybe you have to download, like a translating app, which I did, just like anything. So when you're there, you'll be a little bit more comfortable.
Always plan your routes, ladies and gentlemen. Know where you're
Yeah.
going. You don't want to be lost, a headless chicken in another country. Never
Hmm.
advise. But obviously for TJPW, you would also challenge for the Princess Championship as well. And I was seeing like, obviously with Japanese fans, they have the cool press conference, in front of all the media and everything. And for that match as well, what was that whole championship match experience like for TBJW?
Yeah, that match definitely was the time where it hit me that I need to go back. I really got so emotional after that match, but like even doing the press conference and everything, that's when you feel like you are a professional wrestler
Mm,
again. Like when you're, especially when you go to Japan, when you do the press conferences, that's when you feel like, okay, like this is the career that I've been dreaming about. And so, like being at the press conference, like I was very comfortable. I wasn't that nervous, but I was like, this is the time where I need to show why I'm here. Why they like, I know they wanted me to be there because they like who I was, what they've seen. But I was like, okay, then that's what I'm going to be.
mm.
And I'm going to even show that with the way that I talk at the press conference, the way I showcase myself, the way that I just present myself there, everything. So it's great. I completely enjoy that whole week when it led up to the championship match.
Hmm. And of course, somewhere else where you've been very regularly as well as GCW. And GCW is a hell of a place. We had Billy Starks on. He talked about that crowd, the fans of GCW. They're a very loyal bunch. I just want to know your experience with the GCW fan base.
Oh, it's always a good time. Uh, Especially the Atlantic City weekends. That's the weekends that I really look forward to, because it kind of feels like a convention. It feels like a convention. It feels like a little family reunion. Like Atlantic City is kind of like GCW's home, you know?
Mm.
Um, and I do a lot of JCW shows. Like I do JCW shows all the time when they're there, and then here and there I'll do the GCW like shows like at night. But I just love being there. I love watching all the matches. And the fans, again, yeah, are very loyal, but they get it. They are
Mm.
always going to be like on your side, have your back type feeling. And yeah, I definitely appreciate even like being part of a promotion like that.
Yeah, no, it's a very special place. You know, I was introduced to GCW through a certain deathmatch king, Matt Cardona, coming in and taking the title. I gotta know, for someone who wrestles for
Yeah.
GCW, what were your thoughts on that whole deathmatch king saga?
It was ridiculous, like crazy in a good way. I feel like that's what we kind of needed though, during that time where like all of that was just really happening. It was cool to have, Matt Cardona still popping in.
Mhm.
But like when he started coming through GCW, that's when it was like, all right, like this is turning into something bigger, you
Mhm.
know. And since then, I mean, we always bring in other like top stars in, but like he really um he really shows that he appreciates indie wrestling in a way.
Mm.
Um and I'm kind of glad to see that he's around and doing that and showing that you can be very successful as an indie wrestler. He likes to call himself the indie god, but
Mhm.
I mean, he has a point. Like, he's always talking about it as far as like indie wrestling goes. You can be a top star, you can be successful, you can make all this money and everything as an indie star.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And he really knows how to connect with what he calls the GCW universe. Because I remember when
Yeah.
he won that title of Nick Gage, holy shit, the balls were flying. I mean, it
Yeah,
just
I was
showed,
there too. Like I
oh
was in the
yeah.
crowd with my cousins. I brought my cousins to that show. That was their first wrestling show.
You picked a very good show to start off with. What was
Yeah,
that?
I'm like, you guys came at a good day.
It's like, good on you. This is what it's like all the time. But
Yeah.
I need to know, what was that crowd experience like as soon as it hit three and Matt Cardona was the GCW World Champion? What was that atmosphere?
I mean, when everything was like being like thrown and everything, I was like, okay. I mean, some people were kind of pissed after seeing that. I'm like, okay, whatever, dude. Like, you obviously haven't like watched ECW or anything before, but yeah, that was chaotic. And then after when I like everyone left, that whole mess.
Oh God.
I mean, you know what's good about GCW staff is that like they put I forgot was it tarp or something on the bottom? I forgot what it is. So you can easily like just pick it up and like toss it out when things happen like that, like death matches or like glass gets on the floor, like they easily like just pick it up and toss it out. But like that whole mess just to see all of that was crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's definitely a historic moment too.
definitely. And another historic moment would be when GCW did the Hammerstein Ballroom for the World on
Yeah,
GCW. You know what?
yeah.
They put on a hell of a show. Was that another moment that just felt like, yeah, we're here, we're shouting out, watch us?
Oh yeah, we definitely proved a point too. Like we sold it out. And I'm so grateful to even be part of that. To do like that battle royal, pre-show battle royal.
Mhm.
It was such like a good energy. Like, oh my God. It was a special moment overall. Like we're all when each of us walked out, we were just like, yo, we're here. Like we made it, like we sold it out, like let's do this.
Yeah, you really did. I mean, the whole crowd was bouncing off the goddamn railings and everything for it, you know,
Yeah.
and just that whole card in general. It just felt like it was so much love and effort put into it. You know, when that final match happened and Nick Gage was doing his celebratory talk and everything, and it was done. The show was done, fans were leaving. Did you just feel like, taking a breath in, was just like, shit, we did it, it's done?
Yeah, and yeah, like even when I first got there too, I was just like looking around, like it's just like amazing. And um I think for sure, like I feel like we should just do that again at some point. Either like go back there or maybe another venue, just like as historic. But yeah, it was great. It was great energy. I know there's like a lot of people that enjoyed what they saw, just enjoying the moment in a sense. They
Mhm.
didn't really think too much about you know, the matches, like they weren't really like, digging in too deep. They were just like, yeah, we're here, we made it. Let's just enjoy the time, enjoy everyone coming out. It's all good. Like this is just like a special moment. It's different from like other shows. So
Yeah, very much. It's very much a very crowd experience. You're there to enjoy it with your friends and buddies and enjoy not even just the wrestling, but the crowd participation as well. Is there,
hmm
is there a favorite crowd participation moment in GCW that really resonates with you?
hmm. I think there's just so many moments where even like with like Mania, like this Mania, or every Mania really like the collective,
Hmm.
they it's like a different energy there too. Like the
Yeah.
collective is literally showcasing again like more indie stars that maybe people haven't heard of, different types of shows throughout the collective. Like this year, like they had DDT versus GCW and everything. And I think for that particular show, the audience appreciated GCW more for bringing in DDT because there's people that have no idea about DDT, and the
Hmm.
fact that GCW brought them in to introduce DDT to those fans is awesome to even think about. And so I felt it too with the audience really enjoying the show from like top to bottom. It's
Hmm.
just like the DDT versus GCW show and then just the DDT show, amazing shows. And I know like the fans really appreciated not only DDT but GCW for even having that happen.
Yeah. No, definitely. And another company that they would to partnership with GCW is here in the UK is TNT. They would have the whole GCW versus TNT shows, which they're doing
hmm
again as well. Effie's bringing over his big gay brunch.
Yeah.
Now, are you going to come over to the UK maybe for that?
I wish. I wish. I do want to go over to the UK for sure, but like this time around doesn't look like it's happening. But the fact that Effie's having the big gay brunch over there is amazing. Um, I can't wait to watch that show.
It's definitely going to be interesting. We've got some guests of the show who are going to be appearing on that with Shami and Visage, who attacked poor Effie and as well as Ali Catch of tag team. Not going to get demonetized for this bussy. Don't search it up. But what is it about Effie as well as Ali Catch that are just they seem to have such that personal connection as every GCW wrestler? What is that? How do you gain that element? Is it just something that comes naturally, or is it listening to the crowd?
I think it's something naturally, like, because they're 100% being themselves when
Mm.
they walk out there, and you can feel it, and you know it. You know that they're being themselves, like they're just again enjoying the moment. Effie always like preaches about that, just enjoying the moment, have fun, and people can feel that. Like they're not even trying too hard. They're literally like you can feel that they're naturally just being themselves, and people want to relate to wrestlers nowadays. So that's another thing that they're phenomenal about is just being relatable.
Mm-hmm. No, of course, you mentioned being relatable. I know you have your Twitch, would you love to stream on? And it's such like a personal connection that you're showing yourself out there to the audience. Is that just something that maybe all wrestlers should always try to do, is just show how human you are to the fans?
Yeah, because I know there's a lot of fans that who even reached out to me and like they'll ask me like personal questions and stuff, and like I feel like at this time, like in wrestling, that's okay. Like back then, maybe like they want to keep it more kayfabe and like more in character, not be seen too much. Like, but it's a different time. and they want a lot of fans want to feel that relationship with the wrestler, and it's okay. It's okay, like, to do Twitch streams, to be relatable in that sense, to really show other parts of your personality, because people will still respect you and get it. Like, they get it, and they're always going to be, like, your supporter.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to call fans supporters too, because they do. They support you, even if they're watching my Twitch stream, like, they're giving me a view, and I'm so thankful for that, and so um, yeah, if any supporter wants to reach out to a wrestler and like ask any questions, go ahead and do it because we will be happy to. Again, this is a different time in wrestling, and we're always going to be here, like to even talk in person, like go up to our merch table.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally fine. Ask us anything, whatever. It's cool. We actually love that. We want to interact with you.
Of course, we're in the the digital age where everyone's able to contact anyone at the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
Open channels everywhere. There's one GCW match I really want to talk to you about, Janai, and that was one at GCW Ransom. You, Sawyer Wreck, Billy Starks versus Veni, Maki Ito, and Rim Yamashita.
Hmm.
What a matchup! I mean, those names there, holy shit. What was it like
Yeah.
facing Veni, Maki Ito, and Rim Yamashita?
Oh man, it was so fun. And it was like we had a little bit of everything in that match. um, I enjoyed working with all of them. I like the whole time, I was like internally smiling, I was just so happy to even be part of that match. And then working like with Rena a lot too, because Rena's more of a death match wrestler. So I never like she does regular matches, but in
Mhm.
GCW, she's usually in a death match. So it's like I never really saw like me and Rena ever wrestling.
Mm.
But when I saw the match graphic and everything, I was like, okay, let's see what happens in this match. And even with Venny, like I wanna wrestle Venny more for sure. And then Maki, of course, is always fun. So like I had a match with Maki at JCW, but like just like there's so many different personalities in that match too, and that's always a fun type of match to either be a part of or to watch
Mm-hmm.
and just see the what kind of magic is going to be created.
Yeah, of course. And someone in your team as well. Billy Starks, who you've had encounters with in the past, even with your tag team of Yokai. What's it like going against Billy?
Oh my gosh, Billy is so fun to even wrestle because Billy always has like some creative ideas. She's so smart. Like I always look forward to what we're going to do each match, and she's just killing it, obviously, right now. And so we already had like I don't even know how many matches we had so far this year, and this year is still we're still in the beginning of the year in a sense. Like we had already a good handful of matches, but yeah, I always love being in the locker room with Billy.
Nah, it's just great to see. Just go on the UK here. The UK, we've got great wrestling. ICW up in here in Scotland, Rev Pro and TNT down south, even No Mercy in Wales, and we've got DDT, no DDT, yeah DDT over the top wrestling in Ireland as well. Tonight about the UK wrestling scene as well. Is there a particular company or even Scotland, England, or Wales or Ireland that you really want to come over and be a part of?
Um, that is a very good question because I've just started looking into promotions. I know that Pro Wrestling Eve, I don't know where they're
Eve,
located.
Eve, I think Eve's down south, down England ways.
Okay. They that's one promotion I just started watching a little bit more of, but we follow each other on Twitter, and that's probably one that I would love to work one day. Trying to think, where's Progress at?
Progress is down south as well. Down in
Okay.
Camden Town. Camden Town's down in good old England, London Town. So basically London.
Okay. Definitely a spot too. But I definitely want to get more into watching more promotions over there for sure. A
Mm.
lot of people have told me that even my style would be great over there too. So I want to pay more attention to promotions over there.
Oh, definitely. ICW, Insane Championship Wrestling. We're on the WWE Network. We've had multiple guests from there as well. They talk about the great environment there, and us Scottish banter. We're a classy bunch, so we say. But the UK wrestling scene's on fire right now.
Oh yeah.
Well, Janai, I really appreciate you coming on the show. We're wrapping up our time here, but one final thing I want to ask you is about the whole independent wrestling scene in general, and what does independent wrestling mean to wrestling itself?
Well, we definitely are the world that people need to pay attention to. And I know that even those who are on TV, I know they pay attention to indie wrestling as well. And that's smart. I mean, definitely see what's going on, see what's actually trending in wrestling. Watch indie wrestling if you want to know what's actually going on, what's trending, what is being created. Like that's what indie wrestling really means in wrestling.
Mm-hmm. Of course, well, no, that's a great answer. Check out GCW shows. They're on Fight, but the Fight Plus subscription as well, where you can get all the shows access. Janai, what kind of dates have you coming up in the future if people want to see the Kick Demon?
So I know for sure that I'll be back in Beyond this weekend. Beyond is another great promotion to even be a part of. It's up in Worcester, Massachusetts, at the White Eagle Hall. But that's a great promotion to pay attention to. A lot of upcoming stars. They have Wrestling Open there too, which has been very successful lately. So I'll be over at Beyond. It's gonna be me and Yokai, and then what else we got? We got GCW is gonna be the weekend after. I am not sure what match I will be having, but I will be over there. And a lot more that I can't even announce yet, but
Wow.
I'm so excited.
Surprises. And remember, viewers, in the description of this YouTube video, Janai's social media to Instagram will be there. Give it a click, give it a follow, and you keep up to date with all the Kick Demons upcoming matches. Well, Janai, thank you very much for coming here on the Soul Sessions. As everyone, thank you for tuning in. Have a lovely day, and remember to keep following the Soul Sessions. Thank you.